A friend of my father's was a fantastic photographer, a man called Joe Hughes, and he basically used to bring me down and show me macro stuff that he'd taken, and Dad and I used to go out with him. Sometimes he'd photograph badgers and wildlife round about, and he was really way ahead of his time in sort of the work he was shooting. But he didn't show it to anyone, it was just people who were interested. And so he started me with SLRs so when I was 12, and it really grew from there. And then I went to work in the Middle East, and when I lived away I was always photographing and sending stuff home. And so it was always part of my life, but it never became a business until 7 years ago. Well, you know, it's like everything. Whenever you're brought up somewhere, you don't appreciate it, and then when you go away and come back, you think, well, maybe it's not so bad. So I thought, when I came back, I just noticed everything was about Enniskillen. There was no documentary or coverage on any other place, and I started photographing all the towns and villages. And personally, I've been amazed at how much there is in Fermanagh. Myself and an historian called John Cunningham have now completed 4 books on the county, and it's just a hidden treasure. There's just so much in it. Well, I think sunsets are very special here. I mean, the light changes all the time. Very early morning, if you can get up, are really good, and the frost on the loch and the light early morning, and then the sunsets in the summer are spectacular. October's a beautiful month because the leaves are changing, and then in the spring you have the bluebells. So really all year round there's something. But I think one of my favourite moments was down at Bow Island one night about 7 or 8 o'clock in the summer, and the light was just falling down, and the rocks were all being washed over by the water. And it's such an ancient place, it was really magical. A lot of my days were spent climbing over ditches and tripping over rocks that turned out to be 3,000 or 4,000 years old that I didn't know existed. And you know, buildings that you passed every day, you suddenly realise there's a heritage to them and a significance. And I think as well in Fermanagh we're very guilty of fragmenting each area we live in, and even the series of books we produced cover routes, and you know, people don't want to buy one that's not near their place. But I think we need to take a wider view and see Fermanagh as a whole, because to really understand the county, I think you need to just step back and see it as a complete place. Well, I do a lot of portraiture as well, and I think it's just a wonderful thing to capture a moment of a child, in a child's life, for example. I do a lot of pets, I work with children and pets, two things she'd never do, of course. But to me, it's really a bond that's between people, and a love that's between people. Whenever you capture the essence of that, it's a wonderful thing to pass something on that's going to last for hundreds of years, hopefully, if digital photography lasts. But also, for the landscape point of view, I think as well, Fermanagh's a changing county, and it's nice to capture it in this century, and so something stands of what it is now. But for me, photography is just a magical thing. I'm so glad to have found it. Where better could you get? You know, anywhere you go in Fermanagh, there's a scene. You can go walking, and yet you've got a good busy town on your doorstep. It's sort of an hour and a half to Belfast, an hour and a half to Dublin, and yet, you know, you can be among people or you can get away. And I just think that, to be honest, having lived away and come back, I appreciate it more fully. You know, it's easy to whinge when you're there every day, but really, we have a good wee spot, and I think we should look after it.